I'll start with you, Mr. Chandak. You've been here since the morning and you've been hearing all the discussions from utility perspective, from a regulator perspective, and from a manufacturer's perspective also. Coming to you as a developer's perspective, for the past 1 or 2 years, we've seen a sudden spike in, tenders for battery storage. There has been an influx of many private companies, and a lot of players have entered this space. So from a developer's perspective, what is the attractiveness for in this space for developers like yourself?
Sure. So this is really very interesting question. Interesting in the terms of what we are looking, the price ranges getting discovered from that point of view. Actually, we started this journey in India very early comparatively, and in 2021 itself we started with the pilot projects at our substations. And while doing the evaluation of those small pilot projects also, we did lot of work, and especially the technical specifications, the compliances, and meeting the safety part, the reliability part, and as rightly mentioned by other industry colleagues also, that for example the asset life or the project life, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. So all that assessment we did, and that helped us in starting our journey in utility scale projects. And at present we are almost at 2000 plus megawatt hour of projects under execution. So this is the quantum we have at present. And we have already installed 20 megawatt by 40 megawatt hour battery energy storage project at BRPL, and that is running successfully from last 6 months. Overall, coming back to your question, at the present scenario, right, we are also just keeping an eye on what is happening. You may not be seeing us in most of the bids recently. We are just interested in this, but we are looking into the dynamics and really to be very transparent on this is in the benefit of all the stakeholders. I would like to add one thing. While we do any of the bid, right, there is a lot of homework is needed, lot of work is needed, and I would be very specific on the requirements perspective, the KPIs perspective. 85 years of AC, 85% of AC RT, 95% of the availability. And in the interest of time, I would say one thing: just read the LD clauses in the bids. If you see, there is a 1% delta in the availability or the AC RT, the impact and what you are getting from overall revenue, you will understand what kind of market, what kind of these business opportunities are, and what kind of decisions are nowadays we are seeing in the prices. So overall, it was really interesting from the point of grid stability, from the point of renewable energy getting added more and more into the grid. So all that synergy was there, is there, but now the way the prices are getting discovered, at present it is not, I will say, that interesting, because this business is not for business. I will use the word business, right? This base, right, especially base, it is a chemistry. It is not, it is very different kind of product. And almost, I will say one more thing for the benefit of all is we should know what our requirements are ourselves, right? then only you will come to a good point on this. So that's all my views are there.
Right.
Thank you.
And you mentioned you have 2,000 megawatt of capacity that is under
Yeah, under construction.
under construction.
Yeah.
And which states are you implementing these projects in?
Yeah, sure. So it's at Gujarat and Rajasthan and UP.
All right. Okay. I'll move to Mr. Aggarwal from NTPC now. Mr. Aggarwal, as NTPC, what kind of projects do you have upcoming in this space and what are your plans?
From NTPC, we look at storage not just as a standalone asset, but it is a core enabler for the grid flexibility. So a lot of use cases get answered through BESS. So we are currently doing, or we've just published the bid for around 5 gigawatt hour of storage that will be installed in thermal plants. So that will be used for flexibilization of thermal plants. Of that, I think 4 gigawatt our bid is already published, and there'll be more to come. And so that is being done from the NTPC side. From the NTPC green side, we are looking at the standalone asset as well as the integration of solar and BESS. So for the standalone asset, we will be installing our first standalone BESS project in Kerala. Hopefully it will be operational by next year. So we have already published our EPC bid and the bids have already been submitted. We are looking for good price discovery. And there has been a lot of keen participation, good participation in that tender. And going forward, we already have 2 solar plus BESS projects in our kitty. One was with SECI that we won at 3.53, and one was with NHPC. So we'll be releasing the BESS portion of the bids very soon. So that will be around 1,000 megawatt hour, 250 into 4 4-hour section at for SECI tender, and 335 into 2, 670 megawatt hour for the NHPC tender. And with this, we are also exploring a lot of other options, like we have some merchant capacity solar. So can we, install our BESS and instead of selling in the market in the daytime when the prices, as some of our industry colleagues mentioned, are, bottoming out. So can we rather explore selling in the peak hours rather than selling in the... And we are also, like this is on the commercial side. On the tech side also, we are exploring a lot of different options, like whether we can use DC coupled system or we can use, AC coupling on rather on the 33 kV side at other points. So a lot of techno and commercial financial models we are exploring. That's it.
Right. I'll come to you, Mr. Raje. First of all, if you can highlight what all projects you've already done and what projects are coming up.
Thanks a ton for inviting us here. I think it's a fantastic opportunity and great, very diverse set of stakeholders here. So compliments to you and your team. We at Tata Power, we are uniquely positioned because we are, we are honestly across the value chain. So right from development to we do EPC, as well as on the other side we have the transmission and distribution assets. My colleague from TPDDL mentioned it, our experience with that. So today, if you have to look at our experience, we've been very, it's not stretching too far, but I think in the market, I would say we would be one of the most experienced organization to have experienced what a stationary or a battery energy storage system does across 2 different domains. One is operating, having an installed 10 megawatt system here in Delhi. Obviously, the technology was different, as Ankit explained, but still it is. So the whole operational experience around that is invaluable. At the same time, we are, till recently or even now, we would be very proud to say that we delivered the largest single location project for SECI, which is again the gentleman in the morning referred to, the Chhattisgarh project. You have a case study post this, 120 megawatt hour. So right from technically speaking, the concept to commissioning and operation, we've lived that entire journey, and we know largely the pluses and the pauses around it. So given that, we have been cautious around our projects in BESS. A lot of if we have to consolidate, we will be closer to between what we have delivered or we have won cumulatively closer to a gigawatt hour of projects. Bulk of it is today, blended with RE. So that's where we've recently won a small, like NTPC, a small pure BESS opportunity, which we are supposed to deliver Kerala. But that also reflects, maybe the highly competitive nature of that space, where maybe larger developers like us have maybe we are yet to crack the puzzle how a 1.77 makes sense, honestly. So we are very bullish, but then for us, as I said, blending with RE, also taking the battery storage on the TND side, because that's where we believe it will be much more efficient. Naresh referred to it as a part of IndiGrid's experience as well, and such has been our experience with our distribution companies. So yes, across the value chain, that's the kind of segments and the spread we are looking at.
And when we come to the kind of applications that BESS today is being designed to serve, as Tata Power, what would be some of those top applications?
So again, need of the hour is obviously so much of renewables coming in. So how do you really harness it well? Our colleague Mr. Dwivedi also showed a very interesting, curve wherein we are okay. Let's face it, we are as a country we are blessed with great solar. So if we have great solar, we will have a lot more solar plants coming up. That's the cheapest form of energy generation. But if that means there's too much solar in the system at that time, what do you do? So obviously you need some form of storage, and that is where the blending of renewables with battery storage is becoming critical, and that is what we believe is something which will be significant. So that's one clear application which is there. Needless to say, as I think Dave mentioned it in the morning and some of the other colleagues, storage has to be seen at multiple forms. Right now, where I'm coming from is only giving you a view on battery storage. We as a developer are also into pump storage. Plus we have operational experience of pump storage more than anybody else in the system. So the fact that both of these technologies and coexist is you don't need any other proof than us investing in both forms of technology, right? Because there are different applications. So one is this entire renewable piece, how you are going to store it and you're going to utilize it to maybe ensure that your peaks are managed well. The other set of application is really on the grid, which maybe if I stick my neck out, the appreciation of that is just started to come. Maybe if you look at it 2 years back, the whole focus was, you saw FDRE and a lot of Genco-based or generation-based applications. But the real should we say value or a force multiplier would really be on the TND side, and which is where we are now seeing applications getting designed, and these are all, mind you, a lot of these are regulated assets. So the schemes have to go to the state regulators. First, they have to be educated enough and oriented to accept certain technologies and how it is going to help in grid balancing, into frequency moderation, and also in peak shifting. So if you ask us, that's where we see the applications on both ends, and which is why the general euphoria about battery storage being there now for some time is very, very much true, because you have multiple applications of it.
Right. I'll come to you now, Mr. Chandak. In terms of all the developments that have happened in the battery storage space over the past 2, 3, 4 years, which measures taken by the government have been very, very positive, or have attracted developers like yourself to come into this space?
Yeah. So we all know we are working in a very regulated sector, and we are very happy to have the MOP guidelines, Ministry of Power 2022 guidelines of base procurement. Okay, and that guidelines have shaped up the RFP bids very well, and those guidelines also cover the minimum certification and standard compliances also. Okay, so that one benchmark is already there, and other than that, the bids, right, have come up very clearly on the use cases, the number of cycles per day, the degradation pattern, their expectation, and also the support-wise, the CA and other agencies are also working on the further enhancement of the safety regulation and all that. So I think overall, there is very good support from all the stakeholders. And over a period of time, I think this will further improve.
Right. Mr. Aggarwal, if I can ask the same question to you. You are also an implementing agency, so if you can answer from an implementing agency point of view.
From implementing agency point of view, our sister concern NVVN is doing the part. So that is one part of it. So there I think our it is more of a sort of implementation of the responsibility assigned, but our interest is more on the capex side. So our interest is more on the NTPC green. So at NTPC green we look into the this RE sector as four major verticals, if I can say. One is solar, wind, storage, and the fourth is the green chemicals. So we want to be a key player in all the sectors. So we are already doing good in solar and wind. We are trying to gain foothold in storage sector, but we are finding very difficult. I think the problems that are shared with our industry colleagues. So, but we'll trying to still find our way and see how we can, gain a good share of the energy storage market also. And we are also doing our share in green chemicals. So these are the sectors. So energy storage is going to be a key sector, and are a lot of solutions which going forward. Like if you want to transition from a just plain solar or vanilla based company or wind vanilla based company to offering solutions to the customers. So storage is anyways going to be an integral part of any of these solutions, whether it's FDRE or peak power or RTC. So we need to be in there.
And with the kind of different, project profile that NTPC has, and such a large number of projects that you have across different energy sources, what kind of applications are you willing to serve for your own needs?
Yeah, so for our own needs, if we say we are for RE plants, like we are exploring wherein where we are procuring auxiliary power during the night time from the grid, which is being charged at industrial tariff. That is mostly in the state grid connected projects because in this ISTS auxiliary consumption is not that costly. So we are trying to explore how we can install storage to meet those auxiliary consumption internally. Then from the thermal side, we are also exploring whether the auxiliary consumption of the plants can be met through solar plus storage. Also, the cycling issue that is happening now with increased integration of solar, there is a challenge on operating these thermal plants flexibly. There is a challenge of operating at technical minimum load, and then there is a cycling issues. So to address all those challenges, we have got the support from the ministry, and we have got the VGF to install 5 gigawatt hour. So with this, this is a sort of pilot for the entire industry, entire thermal industry. So how the thermal can be, run, because till the time the industry can run, it's all on RE, we need some critical load that will be, base load that will be coming from thermal. So till the time we need them, we need to run them efficiently and sustainably. So for that we need storage. So we are doing that. So in a way, it also supports renewable, because if the thermal can be run at a lower load, more renewable can be pushed into the grid. So these are some of the cases that we are working on.
Right. Mr. Raje, I'll come to you. You in the last question, I think you mentioned something about regulatory provisions and understanding in the state regulators, especially about this thing. So do you think, like other sectors, we've seen that in solar, we've seen that in wind, that there is definitely some bit of a gap between what the understanding and awareness is at a CERC level versus how it is understood in different states? Is that...
No, maybe fair point. I don't think there is a gap in general. See, in fact, this is a much more simpler technology in that sense relative to a wind or a solar. And mind you, most of our regulatory commission are very highly experienced senior technocrats or finance professionals who understand it. What I meant was, see, it's a new era for them as well. they are used to having, and this is more for regulated assets, where I said where typically it's the way it works is a distribution utility or a transmission utility will develop a DPR, a scheme which gets stable to the regulator. He approves of the capex for it, and based on that, then the developer here or the utility here goes for a tender or an auction for it's a capex auction. So the and then once it gets discovered, they have to again go back to the regulator for for the prudence check and approval of, as we go for tariff approvals, they have to go for their capex approval. Uh, and I think that's the point where there has to be a much more engaged conversation or orientation initially with the regulatory bodies or the approving authorities. Because what happens today is there is a general, and again it's my personal view, there is a uh, general misunderstanding that बेस में क्या है, कुछ नहीं, वहाँ चाइना में इतना बनता है, आप तो 8 महीने में कर सकते हैं. आपको क्या करना है? You have to just go, like you're buying a television pack, you have to just pick up the containers and get it here. It's just the logistic thing which is there. And some of them even think that these containers are right at the port in China. So from there, it's just a matter of unloading and then getting it here. So, but that doesn't happen, right?
Right.
That's not the reality. So fundamental point, why do you need 1 year, 18 months, 24 months at times to commission a BESS project? I'm sure with more engaged conversations, things, some of these, lack of understanding will be improved. Second is, again, what doesn't definitely help is the tariff, falling tariffs. Because, see, as in a regulated entity, as regulators, they have their key focus always is the consumer interest. So by the time today, by the time a scheme goes to them for approval, there are 2 tenders or 4 tender results like we discussed yesterday or last night, where suddenly they are also put in a spot that, okay, why do we approve a scheme which, has taken, today the tariffs may not be relevant. What they don't realize is this scheme was envisaged 6 months back. The tender process took 2 months. And in the 6-month period, there is a fall by say 9% or 10% on the discovered tariff. So, having said that, a lot of them are more proactive now. At least they are open for engagement with various stakeholders to understand this. At the end of the day, and I think that's also been guided by the government, in general by MNRE and MOP driven initiatives. As Naresh mentioned, whether it is a PLI scheme, they are aware that this is an important part of energy security for us. So and the government is building it. They created a market first, which is where suddenly people say, why suddenly 2 years the market has evolved. Government did not put, or the authorities did not put any technical restrictions to that. They just, to the best of my knowledge, and a lot of wise people are here, they can correct me, they just put 3 conditions: the availability, RTE, and degradation, largely. Right? Why? Because they wanted to create a market. Now that the market is created, we are seeing enablers getting done. They are seeing more safety norms becoming more relevant. They are then now trying to tighten it up because they want more local players, more local technologies. The CA gentleman in the morning referred to that quite a bit. So in a way, you have to give it to the ministry and the government here that they created an environment for of market, and now the market players are fighting it out. So be it. So the regulatory bodies and others are also aware of it. It is just that maybe 1 or 2 cycles of projects getting reviewed through them. I think then it becomes a business as usual.
Right. A lot of interesting insights from there, and I'm going to take one of those points. I think you mentioned something about the falling tariffs for sure. So I'll come to you, Mr. Naresh. You've bid in a few of those projects and won some of those projects as well. What is your take on the current tariff trajectory for these projects?
On a lighter note, still we are looking into it how it is possible.
And you yourself have won a lot of projects. But interesting. Please elaborate.
And we are one of the, I am using the word, experience means developers in this sector. We started this journey very early.
One of the players who set the market aggressive right in the beginning.
Thank you, but again, we are able to do it also. We did our, so one more thing would like to add before that is all the PPAs were signed, everything is in place. There is a tariff approval, everything is in place. Though that is one good from the regulators and all the stakeholders, MNRE, MOP, CA, and all the respective off-takers. But whatever we plan, right, the pre-bid engineering, 95% of the work we do accurately during bidding stage only. And even though that trajectory started, but there was a lot of homework for that. Global level connects, and of course the domestic connects. Lot of study we did when we started the journey. And whatever business decisions we have taken, I am speaking very transparently, we have taken all the informed calls. So what is required for that? You need the homework. And we did the right and very detailed homework. Lot of assumptions are there in this. And based on that, we were able to do, and you will see one of the largest standalone BESS project getting commissioned very soon, and lot of projects in pipeline. And on your question, coming back again on the latest price trends. So really, this is very, very interesting to see how the things will go ahead. But we wish all the best wishes to all the developers and all the winners. That's all. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Aggarwal, I'll come to you. The same question. What are your thoughts on the current price trends that we are witnessing?
Yeah, I think I'll share my thoughts with what Mr. Naresh has said. So even they did their homework right. Maybe we couldn't do even at that point of time, but still they're feeling the heat. So we are all the more, but we're still trying to understand like how the dynamics, how the financial modeling, how the pricing, forward call, and all those things being done. And being a government company, we have certain limitations of our own. So within those limitations, how we can still stand our ground in the market. So pricing, taking a bet on the future calls. So that is one of the key areas that we see as a concern to gain a foothold in the market. We are working on that.
Right. Mr. Raje, I'll come to you for the next question. We've been discussing since morning about, I wouldn't say a lack of available domestic manufacturing capacity, but there are definite supply chain concerns, and we're depending on a single country for a lot of our imports. So what is your thought on all of this, considering especially all the geopolitical issues that we're facing? How is the supply chain going to get impacted as we see more and more of these projects coming up, and with the kind of pipeline that we have for battery storage in India?
I think the geopolitical angle is the most interesting one, and I think it's the most entertaining one. If you have to see, because in this particular application, you have a lot of rare earths in addition to others going on. And you know what's happening, right? You go to US, there is some very interesting boxes getting open to the president, and by our neighboring country, and getting rare earths getting discussed there. We have China tightening the screws on obviously on everything. I think Mr. Kaushik mentioned that, right? So it is a reality which we have to face. At the same time, what is also a given that in certain sectors, like BESS and even solar for that matter, it is a given that one country decides the price. We can't run away from that. But what we can do is, we have, as a country, I think we have that's where I personally am very hopeful, because we have traversed that path for solar. If you see how solar manufacturing has gradually picked up, people are now scared. They are saying it's going to be overcapacity, because everybody is putting up solar modules and solar cells. Country mein itna solar lagna hai ki nahi lagna hai annually? That's the question. But again, is that totally independent of a particular geography? The answer is no. But are there dearth of, uh, should we say, manufacturing companies wanting to take that risk and set up projects? Are there dearth of financing companies trying to fund such manufacturing setups? And is there a dearth of off-takers who will pick up that product in the local market? The answer is no. You have enough of that. So if you take that as a proxy, uh, I personally believe that with obviously over a phased manner, even this particular technology, you will have a de-risk supply chain in India. Maybe at a cell level, like today, if you ask me in solar, you talk about polysilicon level. These are hugely capital intensive, should we say, establishments or investments which need to happen. It may take a slightly longer time. But today we are talking about, and in fact, you can see the government trying to work on it already. I think Dave mentioned it the morning, the CA gentleman also, that you're talking about ALBM. Uh, there, we're talking about tariff and non-tariff barriers coming up. So the ecosystem for supply chain resilience based out of India is expected. We are already seeing it, and you have to give it some time, right? It is something which will get developed, whether it is a PLI scheme which the government has come out. But we do know, you look at it, I think 3 or 4 large, or in fact more, I don't have the statistics, how many. They're already talking about investments into cell manufacturing. But yes, it has a lead time. Please appreciate. Also, the challenge there is, if the technology is with one particular country, then, and if they are going to have an embargo on sharing of those technologies, what do we do? But I think we as a country, we have, if you look at the way we have developed our nuclear assets, we have enough intelligence engineers to work around it. So we'll get over that, don't worry.
Right. Mr. Naresh, I'll come to you. As someone who has a big pipeline of these battery storage projects, and with the kind of supply chain issues that we are likely to face in the coming years, apart from lithium ion, is there any other technology that you are currently exploring?
So, not currently. We are evaluating these from last 4 years. In one of the NTPC bids, it was pump storage also in that bid, and it was technology agnostic. So we are evaluating other technologies also. So we welcome all the technologies, but we have to meet the RFP requirements, the KPIs, right? So whichever technology is techno-commercially established, meeting the KPIs of the bid, we are okay with the technology. So we are technology agnostic.
But do you think that there's going to be a supply chain problem like he also mentioned?
I think more than supply chain, if we talk about other technologies, right? Other than lithium, right? I think over a period of time, it may take some more time, but I don't think once it gets established, right, any of those technologies, right, either sodium ion or vanadium redox flow or sodium sulfur or any other technology. So I think once it gets established, proven, getting the required KPIs, I think there won't be that much of supply chain issue. But let's give the TRL level. We all know, right? TRL level 1 to TRL level 9. So where is that technology? We have to look into that also. So that is the point. Once it gets through all the TRL levels, then there is no problem.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Mr. Aggarwal, from a regulatory or a policy standpoint, are developers satisfied at the moment, or is there some very big gap there?
I don't think that there's any much concern. So the policies have been quite evolving, and whatever challenges are faced as and when, the ministry has been, quite responsive. Be it, if you just go back 2 years when recognizing storage as a part of element, part of network, electrical network, and then, bring out the storage obligations and the tender by SECI, which was itself a sort of policy. So from the policy side, there has been support, and when it was needed, the VGF was also rolled out in time. So I think the policy part is quite supportive, and it has that. What is it? And that's why it has resulted in such a favorable market wherein so many players are there. So I think it's good from that point of view.
Right. Mr. Raje, what are some of the bottlenecks that you are still trying to navigate through in this space?
Well, the biggest bottleneck is breaking down the BESS and trying to think how the costs can get to a stage where it starts making a lot more sense to larger developers like us. See, please appreciate, I have personally have no issues of how the tariffs are getting discovered, players getting in, because let's face it, there is a lot to do and everybody can coexist, right? We have an NTPC who is also picking up projects. Obviously, Naresh and team keep picking up much more. We pick up once in a while. At the same time, a lot of other players who are not in that space have come into this space. So in a way, the market is expanding. So as a country, as an economy, it's great for us. However, if you have to specifically look at players like us, then we really, I think, 1, 2 or 3 areas. One is the whole reverse engineering around it. How do we indigenize more and we look at the costs being more, more conservative, I'll say more competitive and more realistic. Second, I think what is not, I think it was alluded in some of the discussion in the morning is, developers have, like us, generally think of the entire 12-year, 15-year or 25-year PPA period or BESPA period. For us, operational phase for this asset is the most critical one. And how are those O&M parameters? I think some of them also mentioned the penalties, LD penalties here on performance are so, people don't realize it, they're so stringent. Unlike a renewable space where it's solar or wind, you can always have a tolerance because there is a variability of the resource itself. Here it is a fixed, you have to give it. And if by anything, maybe the product not being good or the operational practices not being up to mark, if the supplies fall below the level which you are committed to, the penalties can wipe out the entire earnings for 12 years. Now, these are the sort of aspects where even experienced players like us are really scratching our heads to say, okay, kaise chalega? ठीक है? Because at the end of the day, it's a box and in which things happen. So it's largely technology driven. If you ask me, people think this is a it's a low tech risk product. It's the other way around. While it is an established product, the operational elements around it, safety, classic case. Safety aspects, people, if you do, just do Google, there are enough and more examples of or instances of fires happening in installations. Now, please imagine what happens to an institution like them, us. One incident at one particular plant, the credibility, the image of the institution is so paramount that we will never touch those sort of projects or we'll never touch those sort of products. So these are the aspects which go in, and it is obviously at the end of the day is all of this has to make commercial sense. But yes, it's a segment which has to coexist, and enough and more players are welcome to do that.
Right. Yes, please.
Sure. Would add to Mr. Raje's points. I'm giving you a very clear thought on this also. So beyond CapEx and OpEx, right? We have to also meet the ESG compliances, ESI compliances. So many compliances are there, right? We have lenders sitting with us in this forum, right? So we have to, when we bid, right, any of the bids, we have to look that perspective also. What will be their requirements? After winning the bid, whether we will be able to fulfill those requirements or not. So many assumptions are there. So many factors are there. Also, again, if we see the requirements, right, there is always a consideration that the battery hai, right, chalta hai. It is not like that. It has to meet all the grid compliances also, right? And the compliances day by day, they are increasing. And we have to meet those compliances because the way the renewable energy penetration is happening in the system, right? the compliances are becoming more and more stringent. So we have to take care all these factors other than capex opex also. Thank you.
Right. On that note, I can take a few questions from the audience. Could you bring the mic? Yes, she's getting the mic to you. Please also let us know which panelist you're addressing your question to.
Thank you. My name is Vatsal Kundalia. I am representing Advait Energy Transitions Limited. Even we have been fortunate enough to get one or two projects for battery as a developer model. My question largely is to Mr. Naresh that given the capacity that you guys are dealing at and all of the panel members present currently, and given the situation of the Indian-Chinese situation, which all of the people are here concerned about, and it has been raised multiple times, we are a very small developer when compared to a stature like yourself. But even at this time, we are also in that gist that what to do, whether to do it from India, whether to do it from a Chinese vendor, what will be the implications in the future, what to consider for the further bids. Because once you have won one bid, you are definitely sure that you can actually expand to 2, 3, probably more. It is the case with us also. So kindly share some light on what to do and what do you think at your level that what vendors are you considering for technology?
Thank you.
Yeah. No. Thanks, Vatsal. See, the question at present, right? We welcome domestic products. So they always welcome. But the projects which we have won earlier, right? At that time, we know that we have to depend on some equipments or some solutions, right, on some other solution providers. But we welcome the domestic products very well. And I think if every company has their own protocol, process, there is a team, and also the investors, the due diligence partners. So many stakeholders are involved in taking this decision. So I think if all the relevant stakeholders in your organization are okay to choose and take this decision whether to import or whether to go for the domestic product, so there is no problem. This decision depends, again I'm repeating, on company to company. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Are there any other questions in the right side? Okay, I'll move to the left. Any questions for any of the three panelists on the left side? Okay, I think they're all excited for lunch. But I'll come to for a final round of. Oh, there is, yeah.
Hello. My question is for Mr. Aggarwal and Mr. Raje. That during our earlier panel discussion, a point has been came out that less than 4 hour storage capacity, BESS is more feasible. And for more than 4 hour capacity, PSP is more feasible. So I just want to know your views on this.
Yeah.
Again, personally, I believe it's not 4 hours. See, for a PSP, what makes sense is more than 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. Is something which is really the sweet spot, and so that should be the way. And anything lower than that, you can have other technologies, be it LFP or others. 2 hours, 4 hours, it doesn't make sense. It can make so all the others can make sense, but PSP typically capex heavy and others, and by design it is generally an 8 hour, 6 to 8 hour plus solution.
Right. Mr. Aggarwal, anything? No? All right. So before we wrap up this discussion, just one round of quick closing thoughts from all of you on what are you looking forward to for in this sector. It could be a policy development, it could be a regulation that you're looking forward to, or it could be a tender, it could be a new kind of business model, anything that you're looking forward to in this sector. It could also be a technology, anything.
Yeah, so we are looking for the clarity Uh, Again, there are the guidelines by the MOP, but much more clarity on the certifications requirements. Okay, so if that clarity comes up firmly, and that would be very, very helpful for the industry. Also, the requirements perspective, right? So in the bids, there is a requirement mentioned that energy shift application, but it is also mentioned ancillary services. But what we request and suggest is, if we classify that 80% or 90% of the capacity utilization will be for the energy shift application, remaining will be for the ancillary services, then it helps the developer to design the system accordingly. So that would be the thoughts. Thank you.
Right. Mr. Aggarwal?
Yeah, to conclude, I would say our experience has been, both encouraging as well as challenging. Encouraging in the sense that there is a lot of participation for any BESS center that is rolled out, whether it is developer, whether it is EPC, whether it is battery supply. So you have huge participation, and there is always a better price discovery. But on the challenge side, if you see, so there has been growth in the industry, but we need to make this growth sustainable. So now maybe we want to look into policy side, or maybe on the tendering side, how we can make this industry sustainable. And like the prices that we are comparing, so it should be apple to apple comparison. Or if I may use the word, I would say the policies now should now look into so that this market doesn't turn out to be a market for lemons. So if the things go like this, so there is also a risk of market failure if things are not regulated at times. So that is there. So we need standards. We need more clearer guidelines. One is these things, and on the other side, or on the financial side, if I say there are, as Mr. Naresh also said, and a lot of other colleagues, that there is a lot of uncertainties in the tenders and in the products that we are designing. So if there could be some financial tool or financial modeling or financial product, maybe from the insurance agencies or from the lenders or something, wherein these risks can be evaluated, these can be measured in financial terms, and then we can have a certain price adjustment for these risks. So that these are two things that I would look into.
Right. Mr. Raje, to end.
Just a few things. I think one is, maybe if it's great to have a lot of opportunities or tenders, if they could be spaced out a bit more, so that you have enough time for people to digest, plan, and again, going by what Naresh mentioned and even Durgesh, that a lot of the bidding, if the serious bidders should do a good amount of engineering right up front, right, so that the product and the project succeeds. If we space it out today, I think every week practically, or at times every 2 days, there is a auction or a bid, which is crazy. So it becomes like a factory. It's a copy paste at times. I've seen people doing that. So one is that if you are able to space it out. Second is, I would really like to see some government push on projects which are going to encourage or incentivize domestic production. So by that I mean, if it is an ALCM sort of a thing coming up. Secondly, if certain government institutions who have to set up BESS projects, if minimum quantity of that is secured for Indian manufactured products, those are the sort of initiatives or incentives which will accelerate the the localization elements, and that will in fact give us a lot. It will, over a period of time, the economies of scale will kick in, and the cost advantage will be for everybody to accrue. So if I have to just summarize, maybe two or three things, these would be the ones.
Right. On that note, we are going to close this discussion. A very big hand for all our panelists, Mr. Chandak, Mr. Aggarwal, and Mr. Raje. Thank you so much for an interesting discussion.